Hey, man.
What's up? That was so rude.
What?
You saw me trying to do a stupid little bit, and then you were like, hey, man, right in the middle of it, so it has to be on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rude.
Hey, man. Have you ever heard of Fredrick Russell Burnham?
Yeah, didn't he write the Star Spangled Banner?
Anyone who's got three names like that, it's just the assumption is like, oh, they wrote some anthem.
No, I'm just kidding. That was F. Scott Fitzgerald.
No. Who wrote it, though? Francis Scott Key?
Mm-hmm.
John Stafford Smith. B flat major.
Okay.
No,
So-
Fredrick Russell.
Frederick Scott. Yes, F. Scott Fitzgerald. You know who F. Scott Fitzgerald is? Whatever.
Yeah, I know what F. Scott Fitzgerald is. The F stands for Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald Scott Fitzgerald. And this is my son. Fitzgerald Mitch.
Fitzgerald Scott Fitzgerald.
Gerald.
We use Gerald instead of Junior.
Fitzgerald Gerald.
He says, what if we went and we got a bunch of hippos and we brought them to the U.S. and started farming hippos in Louisiana?
Whoa. Okay. That's why I run my apartment complex. I'm always digging. So he's like what like a John Wayne character is based off of.
It's a thrill seeker thing. Like there wasn't skydiving yet. Like if you were a thrill person, you'd have to go try to get shot at.
Things I learned last night. All right, who are we talking about?
Fredrick Russell Burnham. I don't know what we can call him. Burnham? Fred? We'll call him Fred.
Fredrick Russell Burnham.
Okay. Fredrick Russell Burnham. So Freddie, he is famous for a lot of things. He's kind of your penultimate.
You love this word. You've used that 4 times this week.
What else have I used?
The penultimate?
Say, give me another situation where
you texted it to me in something, and I remember reading it and being like, I guarantee you didn't know how to spell that. That you just went for it and trusted that Siri was going to fill it in.
No, I know how to spell it.
But what is
ultimate with pen in the beginning?
Sure. Why are you using it so much?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me make sure I.
Yeah, I don't think you know what it means.
I totally did not know what it meant.
That's what I was like. You've used it 4 times and you've used it incorrectly.
I totally thought it meant like supreme.
No, penultimate's like the isn't it like the second to last or close to?
Yeah, it's second to last. It really means second to last.
Yeah. And you're over here like, he's kind of the penultimate.
He's kind of the second to last.
So is the next episode the ultimate?
Next episode is the
But
pen.
ultimate is not last. I don't understand why penultimate is second to last.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me look up ultimate real quick and make sure I've been using that one right.
All right.
Okay, well, actually, ultimate is
Final, end, last.
yeah,
yes.
final fundamental factor principle.
Yeah, the rest of us know English. Except for you and Alex, apparently.
Yeah, let's put a poll out in the Patreon and see how many people knew what ultimate meant. I'm actually, I'm
Penultimate.
dropping that in the
Penultimate.
Discord right now.
Okay. So
Without Googling it.
yeah, I don't know what did you hear the word?
I'll tell you how I know that actually.
Yeah, how did penultimate end up in your vernacular? Because you've used it like 4 times.
It's a revival. I brought it back. So this was a part of my vocabulary from high
Trying
school.
to reclaim the word. You used it in high school?
I used it in high school, and I know why.
Incorrectly then?
I know why I'm wrong about this because I know where I got it. I got it from. I played this game Tropico, which was a city builder on like a Caribbean island. And it was like
It's just so specific. Or Pacific, I guess.
And it was like, honestly, like in retrospect, probably not great.
The game?
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on, I'm going to show you this. It's like you played as like the dictator on this island, building your city. And it was like, I mean, you were...
is a city building game, dude.
It was.
I don't think so.
Bro, you're playing Fidel Castro?
Yeah, you play as Fidel Castro.
You're going in, what do they have, private jets? You got to fly to do some meetings in Southern California with your...
That
what are you talking about?
Was a thing that you could do.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, and so...
what is it, a thing where you just got to...
some gameplay footage. So there's all your giant house in the middle of all the little tenements everywhere.
And then you run some elections.
Yeah.
You know?
So see, you're building the yacht
and you
club
can
on the
choose
left.
what percent you want to win by.
Is
Yeah,
this just like
actually.
hyper corrupt Sim City?
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm
It
saying.
was just super corrupt.
Yeah.
But there was...
Okay.
The game was actually called I Corrupta.
But there was this thing, and I can't remember what it was.
If you're an audio listener, you have to look up the cover art for Tropico. It is just Tropic O, because it is very clearly not a city planning game.
But one of the things that I talked about there in it, or one of the things in it, was like you got an achievement or something like that. And it was like penultimate dictator. And I thought that meant like supreme dictator. And I was like, oh, I'm so good. And so then I started using it because I was a great dictator. But apparently I was second to last. So
yeah, this is not a city planning game. This is a country destroying game.
yeah, it was kind of great. Like you could do some, you could fix the elections. You could, off anybody that you needed to get political power. Like there was all sorts of, I don't know, drug running. It was a great game. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I spent my time, and this is probably why we turned out different, is that I spent my time playing School Tycoon, where I was the principal of a very advanced and expensive school. And you spent your time pretending to be a dictator.
Yeah, but the thing about, I played that game too. We just played it differently because in mine, I started a drug ring. Sure.
Because in School Tycoon, you could start a cult, though. That was something you could do. That's hilarious.
Great.
Okay,
so that's where I got penultimate from. So Fredrick Russell Burnham.
Frederick.
He is not the penultimate. He is the
ultimate.
Ultimate, but ultimate means last. Apparently,
he is the superior.
He is. Yeah, he's. Think about what the average American citizen thought was manly until like 10 years ago. He's that guy. Like
like
a rough and tough. Here's a picture of him. This will help you out.
Okay, so like a Teddy Roosevelt kind of character.
I didn't see that there's a signature at the bottom.
Yours faithfully, Fredrick R.
Burnham. Yeah, interesting.
So it's a black and white photo. It looks like when you go to one of those photo places and they give you a fake mustache.
In the 90s.
Yeah, use one of those fake mustaches and let you do the whole.
Now this guy was
saloon.
Born in 1861.
Okay.
And
he looks very Silver Dollar City to me.
He probably is a character in Silver Dollar City, honestly.
Oh, we might go look him up.
Born in Minnesota, in the Sioux Indian Territory, and he made friends with the scouts in the tribe, and so he learned a lot about scouting, and got very good at it. So much so that in his youth, by the age of 14, he became a distinguished. I don't know if distinguished is a good.
Is this the guy that formed the Boy Scouts?
Close. Girl Scouts. No. It's close. It's close. He ended up at 14 serving in the Apache Wars.
Oh.
And so he was enlisted by the U.S. and did scouting for them, and the war went well for him. And so he. What are you laughing at?
Who did it not go well for?
Everyone else. Yeah, pretty much.
He had a good time though.
Yeah, he really enjoyed it so much so that he moved to Arizona because he heard
more.
Well, he moved to Arizona because he heard that there was these two families that were engaged in a little
spat. Yeah,
it was the. It was the Tewksbury and Graham feud in Arizona, Pleasant Valley, Arizona, that actually erupted in the Pleasant Valley War. And so it was these two rancher families, and it was your old West combat situation, right?
Yeah.
Where they're just getting in shootouts. Do you think they did that?
They had to.
Yeah, because they didn't have the drummers.
That's the
They didn't have
rules
the
of
money to
combat.
have the drummers. So they're like, well, I can just whistle.
Yeah.
We don't have a bugle player. We'll just whistle. Tewksbury's, this saloon doesn't like us.
They don't like
They
us.
don't like us. Shoot them. So it erupted into this big war with shootouts and all this stuff.
So he rides in.
He's like, oh, war, cool.
So he's like what like a John Wayne character is based off of.
Honestly, John Wayne very well could have been based off of him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So he's like, oh, war, I'm going to go be a part of that. And so he actually joined the losing side. So he joined the wrong side of this war.
On purpose?
No. Who's winning? All right, I want that team.
Yeah. I just love the underdogs.
Yeah. I'm penultimate, okay? So he joins the losing side of the war. And he actually was involved in it for a while. But then he dipped out to go to this Kansan combat thing just in time to where his entire side of the army got wiped out.
Oh.
And so he
was like, you guys probably got it from here.
he's like, how you guys feeling? Do you feel good?
They were like,
Can you close without me?
we can do it. Right. He's like, all right, you guys got to hold down. And then he just dips out and they get wiped out.
Yeah.
Rough.
And so he actually went to, because of that, he narrowly missed the gunfight at the OK Corral, which I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't think was a real thing. I thought that was
The
just
OK
like,
Corral?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah, it's Golden Corral's like little child restaurant. It's their mall version. It's like the Julius Caesar or Julius Caesar. Whoops. The Orange Julius for Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen has Orange Julius in the mall, and Golden Corral has the OK Corral.
Yeah, and the United States has Julius Caesar.
Yeah, I messed that up. Whatever.
No, yeah. No, the OK Corral, the gunfight at the OK Corral, I thought was a SpongeBob joke. But apparently that's a real thing.
Did they say that in SpongeBob?
I don't know. I just assumed, I've heard this phrase before, and I just assumed that it was, I was like, that sounds like a SpongeBob
That's
joke.
a SpongeBob joke. Okay.
So he narrowly misses this, right?
Sure.
Having this crazy, just fighting in wars. Then all of a sudden, the wars in America dry up. The Western expansion ended, and so the government stopped giving away land for super cheap, and things got boring because there was no war. And so this guy said, what?
This sucks. What gives?
What? No war? And so he sold everything he owned and took his wife and kids. He's married now, by the way.
Okay.
Took his wife and kids to South Africa, where the British were at war, and was just like, hey, I hear there's war here. Can I be a part of it? And the British were like, sure.
I guess.
Yeah, if you really want to, you can. And so he became a British scout.
You got to leave them here, though, his wife and kids. And he was like, yeah, no, that's kind of what I was hoping. I was just going to get it, yeah. What do you do on the weekends to kind of escape the grind of life? Oh, I golf. Yeah, what do you do on the weekends? I search for war. I search for war-torn countries that I can go choose the losing side, and then I dip out at the end.
Yeah, who's winning?
Which side's doing better?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I love that you're winning. That's really good.
Yeah,
That's
good
really
for
good.
you.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I'm going to go fight with these guys.
Cool. Oh, you're winning? Stabs him.
So he joined the British Army during the first.
What is this? Like, is this like a mental illness that just searches for war? Like, what is this?
Maybe. I mean,
or is it just kind of like this is what I'm good at?
Maybe. I mean, he got
like
into
I
the
can get
Apache
paid?
War at 14. So I think he's
just
probably
always ever known.
pretty traumatized.
Sure.
And maybe he does it. And he's very skilled. Like when he was in Sioux territory, the Sioux scouts trained him in scouting.
Yeah.
When he was in the Apache Wars, the American scouts trained him in scouting. And now
I guess, sure.
so he's learned a lot about scouting. At least. I don't know.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like this podcast, you want more of it, please leave a review. That's super helpful to let others know who are searching for a podcast. And if you're new around here, we've been doing this for several years, and there's plenty of episodes to check out. One of my personal favorites is Agent Garbo. It was a guy who went to the government during World War II and was like, hey, let me be a double agent. And they were like, no. And then he was like, well, I'm gonna. And so he kind of went off on his own, did the thing. And it's also got some crazy details about World War II, about how the U.S. used inflatable tanks to trick Germany, all kinds of fun stuff. But if you want to go check that out, you can. But thank you so much for listening to this podcast.
But yeah, I think he's addicted to it, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's a thrill seeker thing. Like, there wasn't skydiving yet. Like, if you were a thrill person, you'd have to go try to get shot at. Alex is writing it down. You haven't said anything yet. And Alex is like,
I'm not gonna say anything. I was going to do the... I went skydiving. I went frontline finding. That's what I was going to... That's all.
That's a good line.
That's not a
I like
bad
that.
one.
That's funny. Yeah, that's good.
Write this down, though. I'm just kidding. Okay.
So anyways, so he got in this first Matabele War, and served the war, whatever it warred, and it ended. And life went on. He's living in South Africa.
Yeah.
Joins what's called the Shangani Patrol. And so basically it was like a security agency in South Africa. And so he does that for
Like
a few
militia.
years. Yeah. And then he becomes an explorer. I mean, he does some random stuff, but then there's the second Matabele War. So he re-enlists, gets involved in that war. And in that war, he becomes like a war hero. He single-handedly, with the help of one other person.
Okay. So he and one other person.
He and one other person.
Who had no hands. A brilliant military mind, but didn't have the hands to do the job, you know?
Yeah, he just directed his steps.
Yeah.
And a guy who ate a lot. They assassinated the leader of the Matabeles.
Oh.
And so because of this,
He's a hero.
yeah, he was a big time hero. And so the British now love him, and they're big fans of him. He gets all these commendations and whatever. And he's like, sweet, Brits love me. I had a good tour in South Africa.
And
But the war's
kill
over.
the guy.
And he was looking for other war, but there was no war.
How's he hearing about this stuff? Just like, what is it? The
Google.
Facebook group?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that
Called the War Room?
I'm sure there was like a pen pal group you could be a part
Okay.
of. It's like, tell me where war is.
Yeah.
But it was a drought. There was a downturn. It was a bear economy for wars, and but it was a bull economy for gold, because there was the Klondike gold rush. And so he's like, well, that's close. And so he's like, I'm sure there's some people who will need killing there.
During the gold rush?
Yeah, so he went to Alaska, which is where the Klondike Gold Rush happened. And he had very little luck there, was there shortly, and got news of the Spanish-American War. And he's like, oh, sweet.
Oh, perfect.
Let me run down to that. It's in Cuba. But by the time he gets there...
How is he getting, you know?
Well, I mean, I think at this point in his career, he's made enough of a name of himself where any of the allied nations are like, oh, yeah, go get that one guy who's really good at this stuff. He's kind of like in Star Wars Battlefront 2 when you're doing well and then you get a Jedi.
I don't.
Did you never play Star Wars Battlefront?
I've never seen a Star Wars anything.
I know you haven't seen a Star Wars, but you never played.
You're saying you think that I, a person who's never seen a Star Wars film,
Yeah, but I'm just saying
would have spent time playing the Star Wars video game.
I'm saying you as a millennial,
yeah,
you were alive.
sure.
You were a youth in the PlayStation 2
when I was
era.
14, I joined the war. All right, so I don't know what you did.
No. If you were a youth in the PlayStation 2 era, it doesn't matter if you liked Star Wars or not. You at some point had to have played Star Wars Battlefront. One of your friends had to have had it, and you had to go over there, and they'd be like, "Hey, you want to play Battlefront?" Did you have friends?
I did.
Did you have? I don't understand.
All my friends were mathletes, so we were cool. We didn't play your dumb games.
I just can't wrap my mind around. Like, it's disappointing enough that you haven't seen any Star Wars, but it's a whole nother level that you haven't played Star Wars Battlefront.
Mm-hmm. What else is disappointing you? Tim, why don't you, instead of attacking me, why don't you share...
Jaron, you took 2.5 semesters of psychology.
Use I statements.
All right. I hate this episode. So he goes down to Cuba.
So he goes to Cuba. Here's the thing about the Spanish-American War is it lasted 3 months. So by the time he gets there, it was over.
It took him, that's what I'm saying. That's okay. This is what I asked you, idiot. Is that he took 3 months to get from Alaska to Cuba.
Well, no.
How is he getting there is what I'm saying. I understand that people in Cuba were like, hey, let's get that, let's get Fredrick. Let's get old dead Fred down here, whatever they called him, right? But I was saying, how is he just wagoning his way over?
I mean, he's got to be. That's the only way to go.
Okay, then you should have just said wagons.
Uber. No, yeah. I mean,
instead of being like, it's kind of like whenever Jedi nerd stuff. Instead, he went on, and I was asking, how did he get there?
Yeah, no.
So he gets there.
Somebody wrote him a letter.
He's like, shoot.
But that's the thing is like the war started. Someone was like, oh, send Frederick a letter. He would love to be a part of this.
And it takes 3 months to get the letter there.
To get it to Alaska. And then for him to ride down to Cuba from Alaska.
Yeah.
It's a long trip. That was before the Panama Canal. And so he had to go through the country. He gets there and it's over. And Theodore Roosevelt in his memoirs actually wrote about how he was disappointed that Frederick missed out on that war.
What? And standing in the carnage, I just thought, I wish that old Freddie was here.
I wish Freddie was here to see this.
As I planted the American flag of victory, I couldn't help but be remiss that my pal, Fredrick Burnham, was not there.
So then he goes back up to Alaska to rejoin the Klondike Gold Rush.
Yeah, his kids are 14 now.
He gets back up there and the Gold Rush is over.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say, you wasted 6 months of your life traveling.
But luckily, guess what? The Brits were back at war, and they call this one the Second Boer War. And again, this war went really, really well. So well, in fact, that
for him.
Yeah, I don't know how well it went for everyone else, but well enough for him at least that at the end of this war, he immediately got shipped off to England, where he had dinner with the Queen, and she was like, "You're good."
That was pretty early in Queen Elizabeth's reign.
It was before Elizabeth. I just feel like I have to clarify. It was before Elizabeth. So as dinner with the Queen, she's like, "Good job, war."
Good job, Warren.
And and then she died not long after that. And the new king, King Edward, was like, "Hey, the Queen should have, did more than just said good job." And so the king was like, "What would you think about being king?"
Wait, what?
No, he didn't say that.
Oh, I was like, wait, hold on, what?
No, but he did say
the Queen should have done more.
He did give him
Did he get knighted?
The Distinguished Service Order, which is the second highest military decoration.
The penultimate, if you will.
No, that's the second lowest.
Oh,
it's not the second greatest.
Well, it's second.
What's second greatest?
Penultimate just means the second to the last. So that doesn't mean anyway.
Last is the bottom.
Oh, okay, I'm done.
Okay, all right, whatever, man.
I'm not going to teach you English.
He also,
if you need help learning, I can call Miss Rutledge, my elementary school teacher.
Let's call her.
All right,
we can patch her in. We got the headphone jack. Patch her in. Let's bring her in.
All right, I don't know her first name.
You don't have to. That's inappropriate to know your teacher's first name. He also was promoted to major in the British Army.
Okay.
And the king made his rank permanent. So he could never be less major. And so that made him the most decorated American soldier in Great Britain.
Wow.
So also he was pretty decorated in the U.S. Like he had earned a lot of medals and stuff like that.
Sure.
While all this is happening, there was a guy who got very, I don't know what the right word is for this, like interested, or looked up to. Maybe looked up to is the better word for it. Looked up to Burnham.
Oh, okay.
Because he was like, this guy, he
gets it.
yeah, he knows how to scout.
Yeah.
They met in South Africa for a moment. Like they were like
In passing.
yeah. He sold him a Klondike bar.
Yeah.
No, like they met. They were friends. Freddie taught him how to woodwork. A weird little side thing.
Sure.
But it made an impact on him, and he really looked up to him. He's like, this is the model of what every boy in America should strive to be. That person is Robert Baden-Powell, who founded the Boy Scouts.
Okay. All right.
And so he founded the Boy Scouts, and then like was pretty public about like he's like the model.
This
for
is after Frederick.
Yeah, you're supposed to become Freddie. Which,
That is like in our second. I was in the Boy Scouts for a second, and I dropped out mostly because like the second one they were like, you got to kill everybody, and I was like,
if you're
what?
free, if you have free time, you need to go to war.
And like, okay, we're gonna do some Pinewood Derby stuff, and then on Tuesday we kill. And you're like, whoa, guys, this is aggressive. I mean, I'm for it, sure, but this is.
I love the picture of like a suburban, like 40-something-year-old dad with male pattern baldness.
Yeah.
And his scouts
Like, all
uniform.
right, guys, let's. Well, I don't know how that design's going to work. You know, it's not very aerodynamic. You know, and I'm not talking about the car. I'm talking about you, chubbers, right? And so, but on Tuesday we kill. You're like, whoa, Brian, that's so aggressive.
Yeah. So they formed.
Shut up, Greg.
They formed a very strong friendship after this because Russell found out about it.
You know, were you in the Boy Scouts?
No, I was a Royal Ranger.
I was in the that's right. Sorry, I was in the unsaved Royal Rangers, and I had like the uniform and everything. Did you do Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
I forget you had a mic. I thought you were going to nod at me when you said yes. I was like, oh.
It like spooked you. You're like, why do I hear him so well?
A little bit. I was like, whoa, geez, okay. Did you have the uniform and everything?
Yeah.
What was your highest badge or rank? Like, what's that? I don't know how Boy Scouts work.
I was actually the most decorated Boy Scout in Britain. Do you know that? That's real. You can Google that.
Okay. What were you?
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout. What were you?
You're an Eagle Scout? Yeah. This whole time?
Yeah.
This whole time you've been... No, shut up.
Yeah.
Do you still practice?
Not a doctor. Jeez, dude. You still practice. I think you and I have to get on proud of our Eagle Scout bumper stickers.
That's a really good point. Yeah, we do. We definitely do.
We've made too many Boy Scout of America jokes for you to just never bring up, by the way.
By the way, I'm an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout. Have you said that to us before?
I don't actually know. Maybe.
Do you not promote that? We should have a t-shirt for him.
Yeah, we need to make a TILLN t-shirt that says I'm proud of my Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
I mean,
We did a whole radioactive Boy Scout episode and you didn't mention it?
I mean, you didn't give me a mic.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
And the people listening to this are going to be very confused because we're cutting his audio, you know?
Yeah, I'm not even recording this
You're
one.
an Eagle Scout. That's ridiculous.
That's
okay.
crazy.
Wow. Well, I didn't do that much.
Yeah, I wasn't.
How many
near
people
that
have you
rank.
killed? Eagle Scouts never tell.
Eagle Scout.
We never kill and tell. Okay. So this is who it's based after. Did you
it's
know
based-
that the whole time then?
No.
Oh, wow. Some Eagle
interesting.
Scout you are.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
That's pretty sad. I know who started the Royal Rangers.
Yeah. Christ.
It's like it was God. Of course it was God.
This episode sucks.
Hey, thanks again for listening to this episode. If you like our show, make sure you follow us on social at TILLN Podcast or subscribe anywhere where you're listening to right now, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. And if you want more, we do have a Patreon you can support us on. In there, you get all sorts of perks like ad-free episodes, early access to our content, and even a Discord with our hosts and producers. So we'd love for you to check that out. All you got to do is text TILLN to 66866. That's TILLN to 66866. But thanks again for checking us out.
All right, what else is there to talk about?
So Freddie and this guy became really good friends, right? Such good friends that when Freddie died, there's a mountain in Southern California that's named after the Boy Scout guy, Robert Baden-Powell.
Oh.
They named the mountain next to him after Freddie, which is just pretty adorable. But anyways.
You know in Georgia how there's like two Waffle Houses across the street from each other? You know what I'm talking about. You know, this is going to be a little more of a local reference. You know how in Springfield, there's those two come and goes across the street from each other? I want them to name one Jared and one Tim. Just across the street, two come and goes.
I mean, I don't see what's stopping you from just getting the like, hello, my name is tags and just slapping them on each.
It's true. We could do that at come and go. And that would be such a beautiful tribute to our.
That would be.
Yeah. And then there's a Lowe's right next door to those two come and goes, and that's where we put Alex's name tag because apparently that's.
Yeah. But they had like, I guess they were pen pals or something, and so all their letters were actually like in a like vault. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Display case, like a museum,
a time
like
capsule.
Oh,
and it expired, so those were open recently, and everyone understood how good of friends they were because they got to read their pen pal stuff, which was just their group chat, which is like,
oh yeah, people going through the group chat for sure.
Despite Freddie being like super decorated like war hero,
sure,
and like the Boy Scouts being made in his honor, and Theodore Roosevelt really liking fighting war with him.
I thought the Boy Scouts were modeled after Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt was modeled after Freddie Russell. I mean, he looked up to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That like whole era of like man's man, like they wanted to be Freddie Russell. Like he really was. You joked about it. But he was the John Wayne before John Wayne. So, anyways, despite all of this, he was never very wealthy. Like you would think this guy was very decorated. Like he probably figured out like how to be wealthy. But no, they didn't have like a public speaking circuit back then. Like he could have become an influencer. Like that stuff wasn't around. And so
just follow me on the Pony Express at Fredrick R. Burnham.
Yeah. I'm a Twitter Blue subscriber, so you know I'm real.
I'm paying 8 gold pieces a month.
But towards the end of his life, in November 1923, near Carson, California, which was where he spent most of his youth in California. He moved back there after he like retired from Warren and stuff. And I don't know what he was doing, but somehow just digging a hole on his property struck oil. And established what would become the Burnham Exploration Company, which was an oil syndicate.
So all of a sudden he was very rich at the end of his life.
Yeah, involved him and his son and a couple other investors that he knew. Eventually, and that had paid out over in the first 10 years of its operation, $10.2 million in dividends to him and his people, which
is 120 something $1 million now.
Yeah, let's actually see 19, 20. $10.2 million. It would be worth $151.3 million today.
Yeah, I was really close. I mean, like I know.
So
I know financials.
Shut up. So he got super duper rich, like
all of a sudden, very quick.
Very quick out of nowhere. And his
That's
family.
why I run my apartment complex. I'm always digging.
You guys think there's oil under this pool? There's no water in it anyways.
There's bodies down there.
Whose body is this?
Under the sea. Documentary. It's a callback.
Where do you think fossil fuels come from?
Oh, geez.
So anyways, yeah, so that's Freddie Douglass. Here's the thing, though. The whole reason I brought this guy up is because of this total other thing. I told you all this.
Really?
This is all backstory.
This is where the story starts. He died, and then his body was passed around for 80 years.
He died, and every Eagle Scout gets to be...
Wait, no. Yeah, let's see where you're taking that thought.
I started it, and I was like, I shouldn't finish this.
Okay, that's great.
They get to wear his skin. So the whole reason I brought this guy up is because he was a part of a psychopathic scheme.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I'm so excited about this. So
what?
Hold on, let me get the date up. So in 1910, Burnham was contacted by a guy in the U.S. who had this crazy idea. A little backstory about what's happening right now. There is a beef shortage because at that point in history.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
You heard it.
What was it?
It sounded like a phone ringing or something. Like anyway. Okay. So a beef shortage.
Yeah, there was a beef shortage, and it was because of a couple things. One, there was a Chicago had like a monopoly on meat packing.
Okay.
So all the beef went up to Chicago. They packed it and they sent it to everybody
on
else.
trains.
Yeah, mostly trains. Probably pretty much just trains. And then there was also just a natural shortage. There wasn't a lot of cows at the moment.
Sure.
Which, sidebar, have you ever thought about, this is something my dad talks about all the time.
Cows?
Yeah. We use a lot of those.
Yep.
It would not be hard for us to just kind of a little too much. And then the impact that would have, because it's our beef.
What are you talking about? To what? Oh, too much.
Like to create a like cow recession where like we're low on cows, we run out.
Mm-hmm.
Because like think about like how much just any average steakhouse goes through in a day.
Mm-hmm.
To where if we just consume just a little too much, then we're out of milk, which means we're out of like any baked good. And then we're also out of anything that needs cow meat. It is a pretty big impact economically.
Mm-hmm.
Burger King would die.
Sure.
Well, maybe not Burger King, but it'd be a pretty big economic. Cows
dad brings this up a lot?
The economy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cows control the economy.
And does your dad consider the environmental impact of the farming needs that have been put together in order to meet the meat supply?
Well, yeah. There's obviously a lot that goes into it. But the point is, if
you know who wouldn't be
if you
affected?
want to destroy the country,
You
kill
know who
the
wouldn't
cows.
be affected?
Who?
Brahms.
God dang it! I hate you.
Brahms Mega
You
Farm.
and you and your excitement for the Brahms
Brahms.
Mega Farm is
Sorry,
just
it's like Brahms.
It's just too much. Is that still your name on Discord?
When I die, I want a mountain named after me, and the one next to me be named Brahms Mega Farm.
Okay, whatever, man. You just name the Brahms after you, not the.
That's a good idea too.
Okay. Anyways, so this guy, this Louisiana congressman was like, I have a solution that actually is a kill two birds with one stone solution, because here in Louisiana right now we have a problem. There is a water hyacinth problem, which is
He messed up the word, not you.
yeah, that was a direct quote.
Yeah, it was a direct quote.
He says there's an invasive species flower that is covering our lakes and rivers, so that way the water can't flow because it's like a lily pad.
Okay.
And the fish are eating it, and it's poisonous to them. So it's killing all of our fish, making our waterways toxic, and then also making it to where they're not flowing properly. It's just a
Okay.
big issue, and they're trying to
So
solve
he's
it.
thinking,
And so he says, well, we don't have cows, or we don't have enough beef. We have this invasive species of flower that's causing a lot of problems.
sure.
We also, in Louisiana, have all these bayous of just unused land. And so he says, here's what we need. He says, we need cows for bayous. We need bayou bacon. That's what he called it. And so he says, what if we...
Because he didn't know where bacon came from?
Yeah, I think so. And so he says, what if we went and we got a bunch of hippos and we brought them to the U.S. and started farming hippos in Louisiana
Whoa, okay.
and just sold those and made that like as much of an American staple as beef is right now.
So we could have been eating hippo hamburgers?
Yeah, hippo burgers maybe. And he said, there's a couple roadblocks we have to get over. And he said probably the biggest one
People don't want to eat
will people
Probably
eat
the biggest one
hippos.
is hippo meat doesn't taste great.
And so he said,
Did he talk like that? Like he's telling a ghost story at a campfire? What are you like, what if?
I only assume he had to have.
And here's what we do.
Here's the solution to the hyacinths.
We bring in some hippopotamuses.
Hippopotami.
And we bring them down to Louisiana. That's what you're going for? That's what...
So he has this congressional hearing, and he says, if I'm gonna convince anybody to
He said
vote
this in
for
Congress. We have like transcripts of this.
Yeah, he's like, if I have any hope of this passing, he says, I need an expert witness to come and
say hippos taste good.
hippos taste great. And so he says, who do I know who has been around?
He's
hippos?
trying to get this guy to be a LeBron James endorsement, right? Where he comes in and he goes, well, as for me and my house, we love hippo meat. Ka-chow. You know?
And so he finds the two guys he knows that were close to hippos once.
Y'all seen hippos.
And so he calls Fritz Dukens, who
Okay.
was a boar, and
Who was a boar?
yeah, and not like the kind of boar we hit with your car. Different kind of boar.
Okay.
And then obviously Freddie.
Fredrick, yeah.
Here's the thing about Fritz and Fred. They hated each other.
Oh.
Fritz and Fred were on opposite sides of the Second Boer War, and they were literally the war heroes for both their sides.
Wow.
And they
Okay.
were contracted by them to kill each other. And so they've literally been trying to kill each other for years.
What, they've been, oh, yeah?
After the war.
After the
they
war.
were Wile E. Coyote.
You're just...
Meep, meep. No, not after the war, but during the war. And so there was a legitimate rivalry. But this congressman paid them a royalty check to come show up and to this Congress hearing.
Our love for hippopotamuses is what brings us together. No matter our differences, and there are a lot, we love hippo meat.
When I was in the savannah and I was eyeing Fritz through the scope of my rifle, the one thing that united us was hippo.
And that's why we're here. Like, clearly one of them read the script beforehand. We're here today.
Hippos taste good, and we should eat them in the United States.
Shake hands. Sorry.
Sorry. We like hippos. What if we laid two mountains next to each other after the two of us? No, don't do that. I don't think we should do that.
Okay, so
So they showed up and they were like,
This
yeah,
didn't
we've
work,
both
right?
had hippo and it's delicious. And everybody in Congress was like, oh, well, if it's delicious, it seems like a great idea. So they began working out the logistics, and Fred went on like a campaign tour around the United States talking about how great hippo tastes. And they were like, yeah, just go to different like
roll up in a town.
pharmacies.
No one knows you're coming.
Hey guys, have you ever had hippo?
Hi. Walking into CVS. Just like, I'm here to talk about hippo meat.
Anybody here want to learn about how good hippo tastes?
Gather round. Gather round. I've got some word. Come on, come all.
Oh my gosh. So they began working out the logistics of getting all the hippos here. And they started figuring out where they were going to get them from in Africa, how they're going to ship them, and finding locations in Louisiana where they're going to raise them, and literally like plotting out areas of the bayou for these hippos to graze and it to be hippo land. But disaster struck in the form of World War I. And it's
So World War I's the only reason we don't have hippos in Louisiana?
Yeah, actually, exactly.
What?
That was an unfortunate side effect of World War I. And yeah, so it sidelined the project. This congressman ended up out of Congress by the time the war ended. And so nobody was there to care about this effort, and it never got picked back up. And so Louisiana,
Not till I run.
Louisiana has remained hippo-free ever since. So we were this close to being a hippo country. It's pretty bonkers. And the question is, how much would that take off? Because you're right. If this did become a major industry, we might have like hippo restaurants all around the U.S. Like there'd be like McDonald's type chains selling hippos.
So I mean, yeah, there would definitely be one called Hungry Hungry Hippo.
They give you the ears. They're like, who's a hippo?
Huh.
And they, for some reason, and I think it would have stuck, they were branding it as Bayou Bacon. So I think that brand would have stuck. Let me go get myself some Bayou Bacon.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing though. I mean, like there's definitely like, there's bison burgers and stuff like that. And it doesn't really take off that much. I mean, they exist, but it's not like
there's not a farming industry. The idea was to turn the bayou into an industry because it was just empty land.
yeah.
And so Louisiana was like, what if we could make this productive? Where bison are, there's none of that. It's just like some guy shot a bison and was like, let's go put this in a
Hit him
restaurant.
with his car, yeah.
So Burnham, the most exciting thing about Burnham to me is
He's the hippo.
He's the hippo.
He's the hippo king.
He's the hippo boy. And so if it weren't for World War I, we would have hippos in the U.S.
Wow.
And we'd all be eating them.
What was World War I about?
I don't know, war. There was like some tyrants and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of overshadowed by the other one.
The other one's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a bigger one. So yeah, I think a lot of people don't really know what it's about, I would guess. Do you know, Alex? Yeah, Alex doesn't know. And he was an Eagle Scout. Is an Eagle Scout. Still is an Eagle Scout, right?
Yeah. Is that something
you never
renew?
answered the question. I asked if you still practice and you said no. Or you said nothing.
Dude, I'm never tying my shoes again. With this guy around.
This guy's good at knots. Tie it.
Let's see it, Alex.
Let's see how good of a knot you can tie.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, the episode's still going. Fiddle off so he can tie my shoe. Hey, thank you so much for watching that episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you want to watch more episodes, you can do that here, or there's other highlights. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel. We release new episodes every single Tuesday, which means if you didn't like this episode and you're still here somehow, you can go back and watch many of the other ones we've done. And if you want to help us do more of those episodes, please consider joining us on Patreon, where if you're like, I just can't wait for another one, well, Patreon has next week's right now. So you can do all of that at TILLN.com. Please subscribe. Thanks again for watching.